There are two ways to set up your attributes in NVivo. You can either set them up in NVivo itself, or you can set them up in Excel. I will start with how you set them up in NVivo itself. First of all, you need to go to the Classifications area in NVivo. So I am clicking on Classifications in the navigation view, and you can see there's a folder for attributes. And I can right-click in the list view for attributes and click on New Attribute. You type the name of the attribute in the name window. So I'm going to create an attribute for gender. If it's not clear what the attribute means, I can write a description in this box. And I need to tell NVivo whether the values are string values, numbers, or dates. In this case, the values will be string values. String values mean that you're going to be using a word or a phrase for the names of the values. I'll now click on the Values tab to create the values for gender. As you can see, two values have already been created, unassigned and not applicable. NVivo creates these values for every attribute that you create. To add your values, click on the Add button, and so I'll add a value for male, and I'll just click on the Add button again to add a value for female. If I click the Sort button, it sorts the values in alphabetical order. However, I can always move the values down or up so that they can appear in whatever order I wish. I can also choose which value should be my default value. The default value is unassigned, but I can change that. So I'll make it not applicable. And click OK. So there's gender listed as an attribute. I will create another attribute in the same way. Right, I've set up two attributes. Now to assign them, the best way to assign them is by opening the casebook. So I'm just going to go into Tools, Casebook, Open Casebook, and you can see the casebook has opened in the Detail view. I will undock it for the Detail view, so it will open in its own window, and that gives me more room to work in. If you notice, this first row is giving the full hierarchical name of my case nodes, and you can see they're quite lengthy. So I can change that by just right-clicking on that first cell and change the casebook case name format to just the name, so I don't see the whole hierarchical name. And you can see here that I have the two attributes that I've created in two columns. And to assign them, I will just click on, here's Bob's case node, and you can see in the drop-down list are the values that I had created. So I'll just select male. And I can carry on this way to assign values, but a quick way of doing it is after you've selected the first one is just to use your Tab key, which I just did, and then you just type the first letter of the value you want to assign. So this will be M again, and N. And you can see how this is actually quite a quick way to assign my variable. And now Bristol is actually in the southwest part of the UK. And you see I just have north and south. That doesn't matter. I can just type in southwest. And you can see in the drop-down list that southwest has now been added as a value. Manchester is in the north. You can also set up your attributes or variables in Excel. This is a useful way of doing it if you are part of a large team and have a large number of attributes or variables. This task can be assigned to one team member who will set up the attributes and assign them to their cases, and it can later on be imported into NVivo when you need them. So you can see in this table here, the way it's been set up is this first row, first column, is empty. And the rest of this first column has the names of the case nodes exactly as they are spelt in NVivo. If you notice here, the name of the first case node is respondents/focus-group-1/Bob. And that is because I set up my case nodes in NVivo in a hierarchical fashion. The /Bob means that the case node for Bob is under the case node for focus group 1, and the /focus group 1 means that the case node for focus group 1 is under the case node for respondents. If you have not organized your case nodes in a hierarchical fashion, but just have them as a straightforward list, you would have this first row also as a straightforward list. Now the rest of this first row has the names of the attributes that are relevant for your project. You don't need to create these attributes beforehand in NVivo. I have just created the attributes for gender and for region, and not for any of the others. NVivo will create those attributes when this table is imported into it. And then you just assign the values to the different variables and their cases. Now you don't save this project as an Excel file. Instead, you save it as another format here, which is Unicode text. I've already saved it. To import the table I just prepared in Excel, I click on Tools, Casebook, Import Casebook. I click on the Browse button and navigate to where I saved that file. So there it is. And I tell NVivo that the file encoding is a Unicode text. For the text in my Excel table, I didn't put any qualifiers. I didn't put double quotation marks, so I'll just say none. I didn't have any dates in my file, but if I had dates, I would need to tell NVivo the format of the dates, whether it's month, day, year, or day, month, year, etc. Unassigned, I didn't have anything special. Not applicable, I actually use the word not applicable to mean not applicable. But if you use something that's not in this drop-down list, for example, sometimes I just use the letters NA to represent not applicable. You just type in what you've used. You just need to tell NVivo that NA in your table means not applicable. As I said, I actually did use the term not applicable. And my case name format was hierarchical, i.e. it was respondents/focus group 1/Bob. But if it was just a straightforward list, I would just put in name here. So I'll put hierarchical. And you can see how it will create any unmatched attributes. Click OK. And you can see here the table opens up in the detail view. I'll just undock it so you can see it better. And so you can see here how it's added now all those new attributes and has assigned them.